Syracuse head coach Felisha Legette-Jack. We'll go right into questions and answers. Please wait for the microphone. State your name and affiliation. First question. On the left.
Justin Gershon with the Daily Orange. The other day you mentioned that, Gino recruited you to play at Virginia 40 years ago. And then you talked a little about his system that's made him such a successful coach. Can you just detail what that system is and why you think he's had the success he's had because of it?
Well, I can't answer all those questions, but I can certainly give it a try. He recruits a certain kind of young lady. Character is very important to him. I can tell. Strong academic kids. All of them are amazing students as well, and high IQ for the game. And he has done a tremendous job with those kind of players, and what we're building our program on behind as well. He has a great system that he curtails behind the young people that he has for that particular season. He does some things that's very similar year in and year out, but he always has a little tweak because of the players that he has. So just a great coach, Hall of Fame coach, and it's just an honor to be on the court with him.
Question on the right, Alexa.
Alexa Philippou, ESPN. I know you had a quick turnaround from yesterday, but what are just your initial impressions on this matchup and the challenges, but also areas where you think you guys have a strength or an edge?
The challenge is we got to turn it around fast, and I think that's the challenge for both of us. We don't play lots of numbers, and neither team, so that's going to be a challenge for us as well. I just think that they have a high octane offense where they just kind of want the ball back to shoot another three and make another three and shoot another three and make another three. And when you fall asleep, they'll get you on the backdoor layup. And so we have to defensively be locked in, not just from what you do as an individual, but as a collective unit, to respect them enough to realize that even though you're going to give it your best effort, there's going to be times when they're going to just flat out score because they've done it against everybody in the country, right? And so our goal is to stay locked in defensively as long as we can and give it our best shot.
We'll go to Emily in the front row.
Emily Adams, Hartford Courant. You guys have some history in stores as a program. What is difficult about playing in this building first, and just kind of, does this feel like a rivalry game at all, going back to those old Big East days?
No, I don't. I don't do that. I was at a previous institution, and they say this is a rivalry, and this is, wear their school colors on our campus, and I love it for the students there. As an adult, you got to kind of compartmentalize and put it in perspective. I just think that it's really, anytime you can play in front of a big crowd in your women's basketball, you got to receive that. You got to want that. You got to kind of yearn for that for your players. You're trying to build that at your own institution. And we want our 3,000 fans to turn into 6,000 next year and then to 8,000. And then I look forward to the day where the fire marshal comes in and say, we're going to fine you because you have too many fans. And that's when you know you've done something special. And I know that they've done that multiple times here. I just think that, Gino's an incredible coach. They have an incredible system here and a very mature fan base. And it was noted yesterday when we were playing, and it felt like we were home. And I had told our players, I said, don't get used to that. They have an idea who they're going to be cheering for, and it's not going to be you on Monday. But it's really neat to see, and it can help us continue to dream on how we're going to build our situation over at Syracuse.
Question on the left.
Coach, in terms of stopping Paige Bueckers, what do you see out of her that makes her so special, and how will you guys kind of look to slow her down as much as you possibly can?
Oh, we're just going to respect her enough to honor what she can do, and that's, she can score on all three levels, and she can defend, and she runs the floor, high IQ for the game, and I can't say enough about her. And one of her favorite songs is a song that I listen to as well. And so she got real cool musical taste, and that's gospel music. So you just can't be mad at her. So I'm just going to call her number 5 because it's easier for me to, control my own feelings, right? I just think that in order to respect somebody like a Paige, like a UConn's team, you have to meet them every single possession with the pep, which is passion every play. And you got to stay locked on ready. You're going to have a dribble alive stance where she can take the three, she can go to the nail, or she can get to the layup line. And you got to be ready to go on all three of those levels. And we're going to be as ready as we can. Usually you don't stop somebody like that from scoring. We just hope that we can contain the rest of them, at least somewhat.
May I ask what that favorite gospel song is?
Is Marvin Sapp, I Thank You For It All. Yep.
How did you discover that?
I don't know why.
How did you discover that you both liked the song?
Well, I saw that, a song that she listens to. It was on Instagram. And I said, wow, that's one of the songs that I really love too. It's when a lot of people just kind of go through this world and think that everybody owe them something. And that's what makes me mad at Paige, because now I like her more, because she has this humility about how she gives thanks to something bigger than herself. And that's what I call my God. I'm not certain what a lot of people have their different ways of expressing that, but I call it my God, and I think that he's the reason for all the season, and I am, before I do anything, I thank him for it and give him the glory, and I thank him for it all, and it seems like she does too.
We'll go front left on the aisle.
Coach, Elena took a hard fall last night. How's she feeling, and what's her status for tomorrow looking like?
It's day by day right now, and we're letting her rest right now and making certain that she's going to be able to go for it all tomorrow. That's the toughest I think she's ever played all season, and it's kind of this misfortune that she got knocked a little bit around, but we think that we can possibly have her tomorrow. We don't know, but at the end of the day, whoever is out there, they're going to give their best effort, and if she can't go, then the next person in line is going to have to do just a little bit more to replace her, because she really wants this, and she's really found her niche. She's a young lady that went to multiple schools, and a lot of people kind of pushed her out and pushed her around, and then she comes to Syracuse, and then another coach, the coach that was here is not here either. And last year, in the middle of the year, I said, I need to coach you another year. I just want to do that. I want to do that for you. I want to do that for us. I want to do that for me, because I want to see somebody like her, feel like people care about her as a human being. And she wasn't having even a great year at the time, but it's just something that compelled me to say that to her, and to have her here with us right now, and for her to fly around that court like she did yesterday. It will be fitting for her to be out there with us. But you know what? It's all in God's plan, right? And in our doctor's hands, and in hers, and how much she can kind of turn her thing around. So right now we're giving her a day to rest, and hopefully tomorrow she'll be out there.
We'll go third row on the right on the aisle.
Hi, Coach Jack. Mario, WSYR TV. You talk about wanting to cut down nets, trying to be the gold standard of basketball. Well, you're going up and against an 11-time national champion. Along the way, have you taken anything from watching UConn in the past?
I just I'd known him when he was an assistant, and he recruited me to Virginia. And I knew when he came here, his goal was to make this a powerhouse. And he's done that. And it has to be a time when others step up too, right? And in order to do that, you got to go and continue to respect those in front of you with grace and humility. But you got to have a fire in your belly that you want it for your team and your program as well. And that's where we are right now. We absolutely want it for Syracuse, and we absolutely believe the time is now. And so we're going to give UConn, not Gino, not 11-time champion, not the players that's there right now, we're going to give them our best effort. And whatever that best effort is going to allow each one of us to go look in that mirror and say there was nothing left. It could be a 40-point blowout. It could be a 10-point win by us. Who knows? But it's going to be a game that these young ladies are going to give it all and be thankful for it all. How cool is that? I pulled that one. Let's go!
We'll go back left corner.
Felicia, when you took over
First, you got to stop calling me Felicia because my husband's the only one that calls me Felicia.
it bothers you?
Yeah,
I'll stop if it bothers you.
It bothers me because the second question you're going to ask me is going to be like a weird question, and I'll be like, I want to laugh, but I'm not going to have to because I'm like, wait, I can't be laughing at my own name. So next you're going to say it's Bye Felicia or something. I have one of those names that you can mess around with, right?
I'll stop.
Thank you.
Yep. When you took over the program 2 years ago, it was in a pretty fragile place. What was the biggest challenge in sort of getting it here, and did you have to do any repairing before you could even start building?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, there's a bunch of young ladies that were still at Syracuse and were making decisions on whether they're going to stay or not. And when they shared with me that they would rather try somewhere else, I apologize on behalf of our university. I apologize on behalf of my alma mater for what they had to endure to make them have to leave, to me, the best school in the country. People, to me, it shouldn't be a viable option. It should be a destination to come to Syracuse. And for them to want to walk away, they must have had some really tough challenges that they faced when I wasn't there. And then the second thing I had to do was find players because we only had 4. Only 4 people stayed. And we brought in 8 mid-majors. And I never looked at myself as a BCS coach or a mid-major coach or even a high school coach because I've been all 3. I'm just a person that's the shell that he chose to coach young people to tell their story. And so we brought in these young people, the only people I knew that can come and play for us, and they ended up doing pretty well. I'm also a crazy enough person to believe that winning is easy. It's the process. The process is the most difficult. The waking up time after time every day, the 6 a.m.s, they have to tell kids they got to run, even though they tried hard, but they missed a shot and they got to be Pavlov's dog them, And that process is not for the weak at heart. Even coaches, I see some of my coaches, they look a little tired because this is a long season, right? And so that's the hard part. Winning is easy. We never talk about losing. We talk about we win and we learn, right? And I don't know if this is a difficult task. I know I'm enjoying every single day of it. I love our team and our kids and our coaches. I love our administration, our chancellor. It's so funny, our chancellor was like so into the game that people were trying to talk to him and he just stayed locked in. So we got people that really are locked in. And I think that, most people say that it's like we did a lot of work in a short period of time. I don't feel like I've ever worked, even through the bad days, only because I just love what I do. And I love the people that I surround myself with. Long answer, sorry about that. Do not say bye, Felicia, please.
Third row on the left.
Coach, in the way you talk about Paige, it feels a little bit similar to me in the way that you talk about Deasia. What kind of similarities do you notice in the two's games and I guess the two as people as well?
I don't know Paige personally, but I do know Deasia personally. And it's personal about her story to me. And so I can only say to you that I can assume who Paige is, but I know who Deasia is. Deasia is a humble, fiery young lady who deserves it all. Her work ethic, her ability to give of herself to her family, her friends, to make certain her teammates are okay. She's a watcher. You can even watch her play in a game. I was asked a question, why did she only take a couple shots early on? She's assessed, okay, how's Georgia playing? What does Elena look like out there? Are the bigs getting the ball? She is such a big sister in every category. And then when it's time for her to take over, she's a monster. And she's driven. And she knows that she has to save the family. And she will lay it down for the family. I've not seen a young lady in my 35 years of coaching whose story says to me that it's not a book, but it's a movie. Her story is a movie, and to get to know her is a privilege. And for her to open herself up to you should be an honor because she doesn't trust a lot of people. She doesn't let a lot of people in. And for me to be on the inside of this young lady's wounded soul who she healed to become could be the 4th leading scorer in the history of the game and 23 more points is a testament of her ability to get back up again and again and again. And I'm so grateful that he chose me to be with this young lady. And I can assume Gino can say the same thing about Paige.
On the left, fourth row on the aisle.
Hi, Coach. Chelsea Sherrod with SNY. It's so great to meet you.
You too.
You've had a really great season this year, another 20-plus win year, ACC Coach of the Year. Aside from a win tomorrow, what would fulfill you from your team and the way that they can perform tomorrow?
What would fulfill me is if each member of the team can look in the mirror and just say, you know what, I gave it my best effort, and there was nothing left. The young ladies that's not playing, if they could have, I thought that I should have got MVP my senior year in college. I had a cast all the way up to my waist. I left it out there. You can pour out even if you can't be on that court. And so what would be the most fulfilling thing for me if tomorrow ends our season will be each young lady leaving it all out there, each coach leaving it out there, me leaving it all out there, and we believe there was nothing left. We walk away and we celebrate.
Third row on the left on the aisle.
Coach, we saw Kennedy, Alyssa, and Kyra get a lot of playing time yesterday. What worked so well with that group, and can we expect to see more of them on the court together going forward?
If it gels, yeah. Listen, I love each one of my kids with my whole heart. And this is never going to be about personal like of a young lady. That's why she's going to play more than somebody else. If it's working and it feels right, it stays right. And I thought Kyra really felt like she had to make an example of her effort. And there was a time at the end of the game where she fell down and she couldn't get out of 3 seconds. And everybody's like, get out of 3 seconds. And she tried. And then so it was a timeout right after that. And I just said, can you go? And she was beat up, tired. And she answered yes. And then DeAsia said, because we need you. And her body straightened up. And she said, yes, and with a lot more sternness. So these young ladies are playing for each other. They're playing for me. They're playing for their mirror. And Kyra was an example of that. And KP going 4 for 4 from the field and getting pushed off the bench at a blink of an eye, that's a hard thing to do. You don't know when your time's going to come. You just have to stay locked on ready. And boy, was she ready. And if she's ready, tomorrow like that, everyone's number's going to be called because we have short numbers. What you do with those numbers is up to you. Thanks.
Second row on the left, Pat.
Hi, Pat Eatonrup from the Associated Press. DeAsia was downstairs using words like best friend and mother, and she said that whether it's going to be tomorrow or a national championship game, that it does give a little bit more emotion to her when she steps out on the court. So I'm wondering if you could just talk about your emotion as you realize that whether it's tomorrow or a national championship or somewhere in between, this is going to be her last college game and what that's going to mean to you.
Well, every young lady that I coach is majorly important to me, and my emotions will be different because I'm 57 years old, and so I can kind of handle some of it differently than her. This is her first rodeo. This is her first time around, if you will. This is her first win when it comes to hanging out at an institution, academically, taking a test and actually getting those good grades and believing she's a great student, believing she can be a good teammate, and taking the team from Buffalo to the NCAA first round, to coming to Syracuse and being recruited by every team under the sun. The validation that she's received through this game is insurmountable. And it will never, I think Valvano said this, when you pour out all you have inside your body, it reduces you into an emotion. And for a young person, that emotion could be tears, it could be madness, it could be whatever it can be, and because there's no control when there's that raw emotion. So I'm going to be a little bit different because I know that the other young ladies will be looking, and I need to be a role model for them, and they got to be able to see what, grace looks like under stress like that. So I'm excited about this opportunity. I'm excited about her trying to play 5 more games. You know, let's go to the last second. Why not us? Why not now? But when it gets to that point, I can only say, and I say this right now, but I probably might be the one that she got to say, Coach, why don't you pull it together, Coach, because you're too emotional. I believe I'm going to be more controlled than she is, and she has every right to be emotionally charged because she's done the work, she's validated herself. She has proven to all the naysayers that a little 5'4" young lady from Rochester, New York can become anything she wants to become if you don't put a ceiling in front of her. And she's done the work and she has evolved. And there's a lot more room. And my hope is that it doesn't have to take the WNBA 4 or 5 years to make a decision on what greatness looks like. And they draft her early.
We are out of time, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all you do for women's basketball.